sponsorship to kids in foster care and also to entrepreneurs around the world. I host some pretty cool events. I don't know, man. You got an event 4-4. I might have to cancel mine, man. I don't know. I host events every couple of months. They're called ServeX. If you've ever been to them, we serve our way to success. So if you guys are a speaker, if you're an entrepreneur, you do business with entrepreneurs, you definitely want to be in that room. We do them every couple of months, LA, Orange County, and San Diego. So I'll leave it at that. So hope you guys have a good one.
Thank you very much. Fantastic. You see, they're great with their timing, aren't they? That's so. When you get powerful people that know how to be succinct, you know you're a powerful influencer. Thank you all so much. And speaking of powerful people, we've got two people from the same team, the Epic team. They throw one of the best events in the industry. For those that have heard of the Epic Mastermind, and I got to give it up to the female half of this, and Jason. Well, first of all, give it up for Jason. You want to go first?
I'll go first while you're recording. Hey, you guys. My name is Nick Marie. I am the director and co-owner with Jason of Epic Mastermind Experience. First of all, thank you for opening your home to all of us and being here. Thank you guys for all of you. I know a lot of people drove. I know a lot of people had to go far, near, all of those things, but this is what this is about. It's collaborating. It's serving together. Like Manny said, we host a 3-day event that we've had JLB on with us for many, many years, and it's been absolutely amazing, the serving that he does and the inspiration that he gives and talking about what our true destiny is. And it's an amazing thing for our audience. We just had our huge event in January. We will have our next one January of 2020, 18th, 19th, and 20th. But we also host free meetups. We've got our mastermind, we've got our coaching programs coming up, so we have so much, but we're here just like everyone else, you guys, to serve everyone, and our goal is to really elevate everything. So thank you guys.
Woo!
All right, you guys, I'm Jason Stewart. I am the co-founder of the Epic Mastermind Experience, which is an annual event that now has the mastermind and the coaching aspect to it. I am also a 15-year real estate veteran. I buy homes and flip them, and I help people buy and sell homes in San Diego County. And I created the largest MMA promotion organization called Epic Fighting, which is based in San Diego. It's the largest MMA promotion in California. And we just had a huge event, 22 fights, over 2,000 people showed up, and we had a really good time. We were up until past 2 in the morning putting on all of those fights. So I love to see a bunch of friends and friendly faces and people that I love hanging out with, great friends. And I can't wait to meet the rest of you who I haven't already met. Thank you so much for having us. Love you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It took all of 24 hours to... We put in a whole 24 hours to make this happen. So, and speaking of that, is there anyone here that, I know it's just 2019 is just getting going, is there anyone here that has achieved something big already this year? Raise your hand. Is it one of the big things I achieved? I'm on the cover of Life by Design magazine. Thank you very much. And after my next person, I will bring out all of us. Well, one of the reasons why I'm so excited is because I took action on an idea this year. Yeah. Everybody say action.
Action.
My thing was to launch something called It's Your Time Academy. And something happened to me. Is there anyone who, everyone needs to go out and get mentors, but is there anyone who thinks that someone would be blessed and lucky to be your mentor?
Yes.
Raise your hand and say, you know what, you should put your price on my team. And when she said this to me, it was so true, and I want her to share her newest accomplishment this year, something that she's already achieved. She might not want to share, but I'm going to ask her to. Please give it up for Miss Erin Williamson! Yes, share who you are, what you do, your new role, your new position.
Okay, I'm Erin Williamson. I'm a local realtor here in Orange County.
And you just got offered a new position on what?
I'm the luxury mentor for Christie's International Real Estate West Coast with First Team Real Estate.
Wow! Now hold on a second. Did you see how she tried to downplay that? Okay. Can you extend your hands to her, please? Extend your hands. Everybody say, Erin!
Erin!
It's your time!
It's your time!
You are the boss!
You are the boss!
Let it shine!
Let it shine!
Don't downplay downplay your success.
Don't downplay your success.
We're proud of you.
We're proud of you.
Thank you. And she has a book coming out. Unfortunately, she was in the California fires. And anyone heard about the fires? Her home burned down to the ground. And she is releasing her upcoming books, and it's called It's Just Stuff. It's just stuff. Anyone ever lost everything and had to start all over and realized it was just stuff?
Just stuff.
Okay, so thank you so much. And speaking of stuff, we got the man with a lot of stuff, a lot of greatness, a lot of systems, a lot of power, and Mr. the CEO of the Stevula community, Mr. Stephen De La Cruz.
Guys, my name is Stephen De La Cruz. Thank you guys all so much for the invite. Within 24 hours.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But my name is Stephen De La Cruz. I lead a coaching program in San Diego. San Diego's #1 mastermind coaching program according to Entrepreneur Magazine. And we're leading an event called the Lazy Millionaire. Who wants to be a millionaire and fucking lazy? So we got Les Brown here to be speaking in October. We're also in the works getting Bishop T.D. Jakes to come speak in October. So come see me if you'd like information on that. Me or my team. I also have a book here called Becoming a Wealth Magnet, forwarded by Les Brown himself. I only have a handful of copies for free. Come see me if you want some. Thank you so much.
Okay, so now
Awesome.
we are going to. Okay, Stephen, you gonna get that ready?
What's that?
You gonna get that ready? Okay, let me know how that's going. I'm definitely gonna do that. So in about 15 minutes, just to let you know, I want you all to know who's here so you can interact. But in about 15 minutes, we will be bringing out the man of the hour. Yes, we will. And matter of fact, I think he can hear us right now. So let's just see. Let's just say Les Brown.
Les Brown.
Say Les Brown.
Les Brown.
We're hungry for you.
We're hungry for
We're
you.
waiting to see you.
Waiting to see you.
We're not letting you get away this time.
We're not letting you get away this time.
Say Les Brown.
Les Brown.
We're hungry.
We're hungry.
Get ready for us.
Ready for it.
So before I do, I know he hears that. He's eating some jalapeno right now. Bring it, okay? So before I finish with that, it's a couple of more friends of mine and people that I think you should know. One, Miss Deborah Ferris, Miss LinkedIn herself. Please introduce yourself. We're doing an event, so if you need help maximizing your LinkedIn presence, make sure you talk to this woman. And we're doing a special event for veterans coming up soon. So give it up for veterans.
So first I have to say, Les Brown, Mama Brown's baby boy. Hey, I started with Les Brown 40 years ago, I think in June. I was 21. So up through my many ups and downs, Les Brown has been my motivator. So you can only imagine that John Leslie is my motivator. And so we want to make a difference for veterans. This is my 4th LinkedIn book. Dedication to my son, I did the LinkedIn for college students. This one's Veterans in LinkedIn, March 20th. If you know the beautiful Fashion Island Lincoln Center, we have John Leslie speaking there. And how many of you have been at my masterminds? Vegas, Scottsdale, Newport, San Diego. We will have our Newport Beach mastermind. And again, John Leslie will be heading it up. Thank you. Hope to see you all.
Alright, so speaking of great speakers, is there, I know we got a master speaker here too, a master speaker coach as well.
Where's Manny
Somewhere
Fernandez?
here. Okay.
Manny. Manny.
He's right here, right?
Manny Fernandez.
RV. Tell me your name again. Miss R.V. Robinson, a master speaker coach here. Introduce yourself.
Thank you. Well, I'm R.V. Robinson. I'm the Master Speaker Trainer, International Speaker and Author. And what I do is I teach business owners how to use public speaking to market themselves and to get more clients. I've got a quick event coming up one day called Speak Up, Get Clients, March 6th. If you're interested, just let me know. And I've been doing this for 16 years.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us and being here. Speaking of speaking, there's someone whose story that I want to share with you all if you have not heard it. A dear friend of mine, if we could get a bite-sized version. Where's my brother Riyadh? Where are you, Riyadh? Make some noise for Riyadh. Last year, we sat around this table, just a few of us, 4 or 5 of us, and I said, I'm asking God for friends and team. And God sent me both when he sent me Riyadh, okay? This is my dear friend, my brother, and I'm so inspired by your story. If you could just share your story with the people, make sure you connect with Riyadh. If you have any stages where you want people to be moved from the inside out, Riyadh's your guy.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My story coming to America with only $2 in my pocket, and the only word I know in English is job. And the reason I come here because my mom cried all the time, and she sleep on the floor, and we don't have hot water. And I come here with 60 people, and the last day I told everybody I'm staying. And people said, "You're staying? You're going to die. You don't have nobody." And I said, "I'm dying every day in my country, and I come here for my mom. Make sure my mom don't cry no more." And when I travel or speak, I spoke last time for that technology, that computer, and I always said this all the time. It's because America, my mom have food, because America, my mom have hot water, and because America, my mom don't cry no more.
Amen.
Yeah, and thank you so much, and I'm honored to be around you. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Who's left?
All right. Who are we missing?
New
Right
MC,
here, right
new
here.
MC.
Manny Fernandez.
Manny Fernandez.
Manny Fernandez.
Yes.
Come on,
Manny
Mr. Humble.
So I thought John Leslie Brown was going to introduce me as a guy that invited him to a special party on Saturday. Small name. Someone helped many years ago. Have you ever heard of Floyd Mayweather?
Yeah.
So I went to his birthday party. You know, the reason I'm here in Vegas, not in Vegas, but where are we at now? I've been here a little bit too long, jet lag from San Francisco to LA. Anyone here like to learn how to build your brand?
Yeah.
Keep your hands up if you want to learn how to build your brand for free. I know the only guy that won't like it is this guy.
I love it.
You love it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a text message number that you can text, and I'm going to do free online workshops so you can kind of learn how to build a brand. But then again, no one knows who I am. For those that don't know who I am, hopefully everyone, so I can repeat myself to you. That's how you create a brand. Repetition. So I'm an angel investor from San Francisco, early investor in Dropbox and TaskRabbit, and known on TV on CNBC as the first Hispanic ever to be on nationwide TV as an investor shark. Later on the Oprah Winfrey Network, and been covered in over 100 articles and media and major things, and also verified on Instagram. Anyone here verified on Instagram? I'm trying to do a survey of the crowd. One person. Oh, you're amazing. Who are you? Carlos. I love it, Carlos. So anyone else wants to be verified, just chat about it, because I want to show people how to do that. Let me give you this text number. We're just going to do like 15 minutes once a week. It's free.
Let me go get my phone.
Are you guys ready for it? Yeah. Just say get off the stage, man. Come on, let's go. We got shit to do. Guess what else happening? Are you ready?
Yeah, ready.
It's a free number, 415-649-2625. I want you to text Manny Money. 415-649-2625. I just want to verify. Did I say the right number? Can you say it out loud?
I can't see that.
Yep, it is. Oh my goodness. 415-649-2625. Manny Money.
The reason that I did this at Manny's event, and I did the wrong number. And everyone was like, who's this?
Yeah.
I want to make sure I got the right number.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. Look forward to
So that's what happened last time.
Yep.
Since they don't take the microphone away, I'm going to tell you a quick story. I was on this plane, 10 in the morning, flying off. Actually, 11 in the morning from flying off to San Francisco, sitting there, an hour pass, 2 hour pass. I turned my phone on, Leslie Brown took me at the event. I said, I'm taking off. I can't do it. There for 25 more minutes. I was like, I'm getting off. So everything happens for a good reason. If I would have took off on a plane because the plane took off on time, I wouldn't get a chance to meet new friends. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You guys want the mic? Or want me to keep going? All right. So how many people here are future self-made millionaires? Raise your hand. And if you don't like the money, go ahead and give it away. Donate it, right?
Yeah.
So how many people here want to know a quick tip on how to make money?
Yeah. Always.
Here's a secret. Take the money and put it in a CD and keep it there. And don't tell anyone you have it. Ladies, why do you think that is? Why do you think don't tell anyone that you have money?
Divorce.
Because I'm a nice guy. And first being a nice guy, money kind of goes from everyone's story, family, friends, that sort of thing. So the moment you don't tell me you have money, then you work on it. And some people say, well, man, I'm going to get like nothing in the bank. It's better to have your money versus going after the return on your money. So having your money is important. So think about that. Cash is king. Now for the legend, everyone, John Blessed Brown.
Yes, yes, appreciate it. It's great to have people in your house that's been on TV. Huh?
Yeah.
It's good that I have to go out and have to look for angel investors, but have the angel investors knock on your door, right?
Yeah.
That's a blessing. I feel so blessed, and I feel so honored that each and every one of you all took time out of your schedule to be here tonight. And there's just one thing missing. But, you know, my dad cares so much about people. And for those of you all that have not, some of you all will get a better chance to know him, but I could not do this without inviting one of his dear friends, okay?
Yes.
A platinum speaker who my dad has changed. Raise your hand if you wouldn't mind speaking for the IRS. Instead of having, if you wouldn't mind speaking for the IRS, if you wouldn't mind a referral speaking for the IRS, okay, all right, that's all right. Ladies and gentlemen, my dad's dear friend, a powerful keynote speaker, event planner. Give it up for Mr. Dwight Pledger.
All right, John Leslie, God bless you.
Hi, Dwight.
This is a good thing he's doing. Give it up for John Leslie.
Sorry.
So just briefly before Les comes out, I just want to share that John Leslie was right. Les is one of my dearest friends. We've known each other for about 14 years. I came to his speaker platinum program, and I signed up, dropped my money like it was hot. But trust me on this, it was the best investment I could have ever made in myself that I can think of, because from that moment, he really instilled in me the power of story. And I had a story of redemption, how I had it going on at a certain time in my life in San Diego, nice car, 4-bedroom, 3-bath home, wife, 2 children, licensed real estate broker. And then in a moment of indiscretion, was at a friend's house, her friend came in, he was smoking some crack. I said, I think I'd like to try that just once. Took that hit, blew the smoke out, and for the next 7 years, I went down the road of destruction. It caused me to lose all of my possessions, walk away from my wife and 2 children, land on the streets of Oakland, go to jail 6 or 7 times, OD 3 times. But at the end of my 5.5-year separation, came back to Ontario, California. My sister got me a plane ticket, came down, and when I got off the plane, all I had was the clothes I was wearing on my back. I had lost everything. And the interesting thing was, though, I wasn't even sure who was going to pick me up, because nobody owed me anything. And I always share this, and Les don't want me to leave it out when I share my story, but I looked as I was standing there with the clothes on my back, I looked and saw a Chevy Nova come around the corner, and behind the wheel was my wife. The woman I'd walked away from 5.5 years earlier, leaving her to fend for herself and the kids. And the interesting thing was, when she should have done a drive-by, she drove up. And I got in the car, kissed her like I'd been on a 3-day business trip, and drove away from there and went down a hard road to restoration. Well, that was over 32 years ago. We've been back together.
Great. Amen.
Give it up for my wife, please.
Yes.
And we've been married for 46 years.
Yeah.
And so that story, Les has really massaged it with me over the years, and I've been all over the world with him, sharing the stage with him as a platinum speaker. As I said, the one-on-one, up-close connection with him was literally life-changing, and some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm going to give the mic back to John Leslie, but the last thing I want to say about my 75-year-old brother.
Woo!
Yeah, I said 75. Okay, and we were sitting there just now looking, and I said, Les, 75. He said, Dwight, I know. But Les Brown, when they did this meta search that on Google Hits of the people that have gotten the most hits on YouTube and through Google, Les Brown is at 2.2 billion hits.
Woo!
The next 10 speakers on down don't even come anywhere close to that. So when we talk about living for 75 years and having an impact at one degree or another on 2.2 billion people that's looking at your face, how many know that's a life well lived?
Yeah.
So you're here tonight to honor and to bless and to just be in the company of a living legend in the person of Les Brown. And I love him with everything in me. My wife told me to give him a kiss. I said, Les, pucker up. No, I said, where your forehead at? And I will. And kiss him on the forehead. So hey, here down there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please make some noise for Mr. Les Brown? And on three, I want us all to sing happy birthday. 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you.
Come closer. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Les. Happy birthday to you.
Here, hold that.
Les, you look about 25, man.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate that very much. Thank you so much, John Wesley. So we make a wish. Which one's mine? You get 75, you get both of them. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, where am I? Do you have a stool for me? Or where am I going to be?
I do. First of all, he's here, ladies and gentlemen. He's here. Thank you so much. And we're going to do a live Q&A interview with Mr. Brown right over here. So we need everyone to shift over here. Come right this way. Let's go ahead right over there, man. Thank you so much. Come right on this way.
I'm so sorry. Whoops, we don't want to fall down on the floor.
How many of you all would like to look at like that at 75? This one? This one right here?
Hey, Gerald. Woo! We're hungry! We're hungry!
Yeah.
We're in the wrong spot. Here. John, let's stand next to your dad so good people get pictures of it. Woo! Handsome boys!
Handsome guys.
1, 2.
I'm great.
See you.
Right here, guys. Right here, guys.
You hooking up with me?
Yes, I'm closing in on you. Okay.
I got the best one.
Yeah, we're just gonna share that one. Okay, Travis, you
Manny
have,
sandwich block.
you have one microphone? We work it.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. We're going to share back and forth. Okay, so I'm nervous, by the way. This is my mind is blown right now. So I was trying to get with John for a long time. The idea of this was that we were going to do an interview, but it was going to be nothing like this. It was going to be before kind of you got here, things like that. And this is now amazing. So this is part of impromptu thing, but I just want to say it's been a long time dream of mine to meet you. This is the first time I've met you. So now having done this, it's a little overwhelming, but I'll just get to the questions because yeah, we're gonna make it work. So about a year ago, I wanted to do a podcast for small business owners, entrepreneurs that had started a new business, found a little bit of success, and then got overwhelmed quickly. There's a lot of this new kind of gig economy, people that it's now very easy to start a business, but it's also very difficult to deal with the stress when it comes on you and it actually becomes successful and things like that. So I thought it'd be great to kind of pull a resource together for things that don't get really talked about much, like taxes and accounting and things like that. So when the opportunity came up to really pull it all together with a topic in mindset, I feel like you might be the top one that can take on those challenges for how to deal with an epic mindset, you know, because everybody's rah, 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 and then you get in there, and then it's like, oh man, this is so hard. So the question that I want to ask you, so I only have 2 questions. The first one is, at what point and where was your mindset at when you were thinking that you wanted to go all in with public speaking? You'd kind of, you know, done some of these things in the past, but you decided that at some point you were going all in on public speaking, burn the boats behind you, or was it a slow, gradual pace? What was your mindset like that when you decided to pull the trigger and commit your life to helping others?
I'm so glad, Travis, that you asked me that question. I had just gotten re-elected to the Ohio legislature, and I was planning on going to the Senate and then to run for Congress and perhaps even statewide office. And I was very excited about that because I became the chairman of the Human Resource Committee, the Education Committee, and several other chairmanships that I had. And then I got a phone call from my sister who said, Leslie, you're sitting down? And I said, what's wrong with Mama? And she said, Mama has breast cancer. And I said, I'll be right there. And I resigned that day because I just had stepped out of the legislature, a recess, to get the telephone call. And I left that day, left furniture, everything, because being adopted, first I was a foster kid and then adopted. And I promised my mother, anything ever happened to you, I would be there. And so I left immediately. I remember ringing the doorbell, and she had a friend at the house named Mildred, and she said, Mamie, Leslie's at the door. And I heard my mother say, I knew he would come. I knew he would come. And so while there, I had to figure out, what am I going to do? I don't have a college education. I had no experience working for major corporations. All I did was radio, and I was very successful in radio and loved it very much. And I went to see Zig Ziglar and a few other speakers, and my heart said, I can do that. Then when I went to the parking lot, my mind said, no, you can't. You don't have a college education. You were labeled educable, mentally retarded, put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade. You have never worked for a major corporation. You don't have the money and the contacts. You can't compete with people who have PhDs and MBAs. And I encourage all of you, when there's an argument between your mind and your heart, follow your heart. And so, but at that time, I had been procrastinating for 14 years because I had people always tell me, you love to help people, that's who you are. And my mentor, Mike Williams, who wrote the book called The Road to Your Best Stuff, he said, Brownie, you were not born to work for a living, but to live your making. And living your making will make your living. And the hell that you're going through now at Skyway Broadcasting Company, it's for you. It's not happening to you. It's for you to make a decision. Marion White said, in life, when you don't have enough courage or insight to know that you've outgrown a situation and it's time to move on, life will move on you. And I had literally outgrown that station, and life had moved on me. They were very mean to me, but I didn't have enough courage to believe in me, to bet on me. But Mike always did. And so when I was at this conference, a guy was speaking, and I was in the audience, and he stopped, Bob Proctor, and he said, there's somebody here who you love to help people, but you've convinced yourself that you can't do it. He said, you know who you are. And he started looking out into the audience like he was looking for me. And I'm squirming in my seat. Then he went on to continue to talk, and he said, hey person, you know who you are. He said, I'm standing up here in your dream. I'm holding this microphone, but you were born to do this. And the reason I'm standing up here and you're seated out there squirming in your seat, I represent the thoughts you have rejected for yourself. And I jumped up, I was crying, but I think about it now. And you can make a phone call for a dime. And I ran out to a payphone and I called Mike Williams. Sometimes you have to believe in somebody's belief in you until your belief kicks in. And I said, Mike! And he said, Brownie, what's going on? What's going on? I said, Mike, listen to me. He said, Brownie, what's going on? Calm down. I said, I'm not rejecting myself anymore. Do you hear me? I'm not rejecting myself anymore. My mother needs me, and I can speak right. You've always told me that. I didn't believe it. You told me it's not what I don't have, it's what I think I need that keeps me from doing what I am called to do. And I'm ready. Will you help me? And I believe, ask for help, not because you're weak, but because you want to remain strong, and ask for help and don't stop until you get it. So he flew down, and I decided, I said, I'm going to make this happen for Mama. I'm going to do this, because she took in, first is Wesley, my twin brother, and I, as foster kids, and then she took in 5 other kids, and 7 of us all together. And then she adopted us years later. And so I caught a Greyhound bus from Miami to Plano, Texas, to go to a training seminar with a guy named Ed Foreman called Executive Development. Mama prepared for me some marinated frog legs. So I became very popular on the bus. Everybody knew me as Frog Man, and I told them that I was going to become a famous motivational speaker. And we were exchanging frog legs for pork chop sandwiches and collard greens and cornbread. And when we hit Dallas, Texas, they said, Frog Man, we're here. And so, when I stood up, everybody applauded. And I said, remember my name. I'm the Frog Man, Les Brown, Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. So I got off the bus. You know how they go and they open up the side of it. I got my luggage, and I knew they were watching me, and so I hopped in the turbo. I hopped like a frog. Everybody cracked up. And good thing I did that, because it was my first seminar. And I saw him speak, and I only had enough money to catch a Greyhound bus there. Most people don't know that 95% of people who file bankruptcy do so because of medical expenses, and I spent every dime I had to keep my mother alive. And so, while I was on the phone calling to find out where they were, the driver had taken up a collection on the bus, I believe in angels, and he came in and gave me $756. He said, Frogman, we all chipped in to give you some money, and we wish you the very best. And I said, thank you so much. And so, sure enough, I needed it because it cost $2,600 for the seminar. I thought that took care of the hotel and everything, and it did not. And that allowed me to be able to pay for the hotel and everything. And because when I went there, there's a guy named Dr. Tataglia, Louis Tataglia, a psychiatrist. He was there, and he saw me in the training seminar, and I was the laughing stock of the seminar, because they said I was the only one there came in a bus from Miami, Florida. It took about 2 or 3 days. And so Ed Foreman had heard about me. He said, where's the Frog Man? And I stood up. He said, you're going to get more out of this than anybody. And he said, and you are going to be a positive force to be reckoned with. And so I said, why did you say that, sir? He said, because of what it took for you to get here. And sure enough, after I left, caught a Greyhound bus back to Miami. I caught a Greyhound bus from Miami to Tallahassee, to Jacksonville, to Atlanta, to Detroit, Michigan. And a lady named Audrey Lewis was driving me to speak. I was volunteering to speak at church. It's free. I believe a calling is something that you love so much that you do it for nothing. But you do it so well that people pay you to do it. And she said, hey, she said, you see that church over there? I said, yes. She said, Robert Schuller and Dr. Norman Vincent Peale and Zig Ziglar, they all have spoken at that church. I said, they have? I said, will you take me there? She said, yes. So as soon as we drove in the parking lot, then, let us say together, coincidence is God's way.
Is God's way.
Of staying anonymous.
Of staying anonymous.
When I was being driven in the parking lot, Dr. Tattaglia was coming out of the church, and he said, oh my God. He said, Jack Bowler. He said, that guy Les Brown I was telling you about, he's here. At that precise moment, what are the chances? And so when I went in, he said, I heard about you. He said, listen, I got a spot 4 weeks, a series. Can you do 4 weeks here? So I figured I had 2 good speeches. I didn't have 4. So I said, I'm booked 2 of those weeks. I can do 2. And they booked me for 2 weeks. They had 60 people that came out, about 60, 65 people. And then the next year, they had me, over 230 people came. And the next year, they had me, over 1,000 came. And the next year, over 3,000 standing room only. Yes. So, but I never, ever thought about quitting. And one of the things that's very important, answer the call on your life. I believe that we were created on purpose, for a purpose, with a purpose. That's number 1.
Yes. Yep.
Number 2, you have to be relentless. I spoke everywhere, and I got Mike Williams as my coach because I admired his style of speaking. He spoke from his heart. I heard him speaking, and I said, I want to speak like you. And I hired him as my coach and mentor. And so you want somebody that has a trained eye, who's accomplished, whose style of speaking you admire. And I admired how he held an audience in the palm of his hands. We've been together this year, makes 50 years. I've been doing this for 50 years now. And so, and then from there, speaking at that church, at the end of the series, and I gave 52 speeches there, a guy named Michael King of King World, he was in a hotel, he was inebriated, and he saw a news story where they were interviewing me, and he said, when I spoke, he said he felt me, he experienced something, and he called me and said, they called the church, and they told him what my office, where it was, in Detroit, in the Penobscot building, and he said, I want to talk to you about doing a talk show. And then they sent me a check for $2.5 million to do a talk show. And so that was that journey of going from city to city on a Greyhound bus was the beginning. But what you said, you mentioned something major. I said, I'm not coming back until I make it. I remember my sister, one of my sisters, Linda, all my family members said, don't do this. You know, you have a good job at Sears. And I said, Mama, I can't buy you a home at Sears, and I don't have enough money to pay for the alternative methods to get you healed. And so I said, I've got to do this, Mama. I need to do something else to make some money. And so, but my sister Linda, who was a former crack addict, she said, Leslie, I believe in you. And when she spoke those words to me, it was to know from whence she came. Somebody had took her down to South Florida and left her on a jump pile to die. She had overdosed, and she survived. And she came back. And when she spoke that to me, she said, I believe in you, Leslie. We both cried. I said, I'm going to make it. I said, you watch. She said, I knew you will. And man, I said, I will never look back. I will climb this mountain, or I'm going to die on the side of this mountain with a smile on my face. You know, I had the experience. I was in the hospital, and I went in the bathroom, and I was there to get radiation. This happened about 3 months ago. They were going to put radiation in my spinal area because they said, the Cleveland Clinic, the cancer metastasized to my T1, T2, and T3. And they needed to radiate that area, including my spinal area. And when I went in the bathroom, I saw an X on each side of my throat. So I asked the nurse, I said, why is this X here? She said, oh, you might not be able to talk tomorrow morning. Did they tell you? I said, what do you mean? Because of radiation, you might lose your voice. I said, I speak. She said, I know, I'm sorry, I thought they told you. So I called my children, I called all of them and said, they said that I might not be able to speak. This might be the last time you hear my voice. So I want to call all of you and tell you that I love you. And I laid in bed and I was thinking, I got my telephone out, I said, if this is my last night, I'm going to motivate somebody before I lose my voice. So I took my phone and I gave a motivational speech for about 2 hours. That went viral. For about 4 million people saw it. I had on my hospital gown, medical instruments going on. If you put Google Les Brown in the hospital, a guy said, who does that? I told my kids, they say I died, to sleep. I said, don't let them embalm me for 3 days. Sneak down to the morgue and slip a microphone in my hand. If I don't grab it and say, you gotta be hungry. You can say, Dad's gone now, he's gone. But I just, once I left, I said, I'm not coming back, I'm gonna do this. And you have to be all in on your golden dream because things gonna happen. When you make up your mind, there's something you want to do. As the Book of Life said, think it not strange that you are faced the fiery furnaces of this world. You will have tribulations. Things are going to happen that you cannot anticipate. But they don't happen just to you, they happen for you, that you will grow mentally and emotionally and spiritually. There's a dimension about us that most of us, because we live in an external world, don't focus on that's in us, that many times we give more credit to the things, give more power to the adversities than what they rightly deserve. I say to people, you don't know enough about yourself to give up on your dream. You don't know what you can do. Sometimes we must become intelligently ignorant. Yes?
So I'm curious when you talk about that because one of the things that sometimes people talk about when they fully commit is that it feels like a switch. Something has totally changed within their whole body, their mind. Did you feel that way when you finally decided that you were going to burn the boats and go all in? That it was just a switch that flipped and you felt different once you kind of locked onto that?
Yes, absolutely, because when I got there, to see someone that took care of you when you couldn't take care of yourself, when I saw my mother, who had always been the strength of the family, when I came to her bedside, I said, Mama, you're going to be all right. I'm going to take care of you. And there was this feeling in me that you have to become a no matter what person, that you're going to make it happen no matter what. My mother did that. You know, just imagine a single woman, 3rd grade education, never had any children, and she made a way out of no way. We ate the food left over from the families that she cooked for. She worked on Miami Beach for wealthy families, and we wore the hand-me-down clothes of the children that she kept. And they were very kind people. They would say, Mamie, whatever food is left over after we eat, you can take it home to those 7 kids that you've taken in. And so watching her, I'm a mama's boy, you might have noticed, you know, I just said, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to be here for you. I'm here because of 2 women. One gave me life, the other one gave me love. And I feel like Abraham Lincoln always said, all that I am and all that I ever hope to be, I owe to my mother. She was a relentless, resilient, unstoppable person. We never went to bed hungry. She kept clothes on our back and a roof over our head. And she taught us, I'm an old-fashioned guy, you know, I don't believe that women should work unless they want to work. And that a man pays the bills, not a grown boy, but a man pays all the bills. Woman makes the money. she shouldn't pay bills. My mother used to say, "But your wife got a husband and a job too. One of them's got to go." I remember when I was married to Gladys Knight. I said, "Listen, I'm the captain of this midnight train now. You don't have to sing unless you want to sing."
Okay, so last question, but I'm curious. A lot of people start businesses. Obviously, they're very challenging. You've gone through a long career, and I'm sure you've had your ups and downs. If you could tell an audience of people just getting ready to start a business and kind of give them some insight on what to prepare for mentally through the long haul. A lot of people want kind of the short game, but obviously sometimes careers can last 50 years, and you've seen the highs and lows and probably several times. What would you tell them to prepare for mentally to go through that, to try to survive or at least come out the other end okay?
What I did, and I encourage everyone to do it, I want everyone to go online and find Les Brown speaking in the Georgia Dome. I was speaking to over 80,000 people, and You Deserve, and another one called It's Possible. I have others, but those are my favorites. And the reason is that you're going to encounter some setbacks and some failures. You're going to fail your way to success. And in order to succeed in business, it takes a deep down resolve that I'm not going to quit. That's number one. Number two, it's very important that you find something you love, that you could do it. You love it so much it's like a hobby, and you want to master that. I love to speak. So I always encourage people, don't do something just to make some money. Do something you love and find a way to make money with it. And the other thing that's important, create, and what my son is a master at, collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. You can't make it by yourself. 72% of corporations have struck partnerships. You can go to Burger King and get a pizza. And so you can go into Walgreens and buy clothes. And so you want to strike relationships with people, build communities. There's a book called, it's 500-pager called The End of Work. In less than 10 years, over 47 million jobs will be lost in this country to technology, to artificial intelligence, and to cheap labor abroad. And so you want to have a team of people that you work with that have skills and knowledge and access and abilities and talents that you don't have. Dr. Dennis Kimbrough said out of Atlanta, if you're the smartest one in your group, you need to get a new group, you know. And so those three things there are major. All the other stuff, you're going to attract the people you want. Once you make the commitment, you're going to go through some stuff. I believe that life will test you. It's like, do you really want this? And it will test you to find out if you want it. And so you have to have dogged determination that life is a fight for territory. And once you stop fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over. And so it's a mindset that I'm not going to let anything that happens to me define me. Dr. Howard Thurman said, there's something in each and every one of you that waits and listens to the voice of the genuine in yourself. It will be perhaps the only guide you will ever have or hear. And if you cannot hear it all of your life, your days will be spent on the ends of strings that somebody else pulls. I submit to you that everybody that's here, the reason that they showed up, not just to see me, but there's something in their heart of hearts that said, whatever he's done, I can do that and more. The mind can't compute it, but the heart knows. Where your heart is, there your treasure is also, because we are cut from the same cloth. We're branches of the same tree. I think that we all have an energy signature. I was in India, Mumbai, India, in Bangalore, and I was being taken to an event late, and they pulled up in the back of the auditorium and I was changing my shirt and I just laughed for a short time. And a lady screamed, said, "Poppy, it's him, it's him." And this lady and man, they ran across the street in traffic. And he grabbed me and he hugged me. "Mr. Brown, Mr. Brown, Mr. Brown." And then the wife, she circled us. She kept walking around, "Mr. Brown," and she slapped me in the back. Boom. She said, "We drove 8 hours to see you. Mr. Brown, my husband and I came from our village to spend time with you. Mr. Brown." And she opened up her purse and she took, and she had a rope in there, and she took it and she put it across my shoulder. "My husband was going through a deep depression because we lost everything. And someone gave him a cassette tape of yours called 'You Gotta Be Hungry.' And you saved my husband's life. Thank you, sir." And the three of us hugged each other and cried. They were in Mumbai, India. In Bangla, where they have monkeys among the population. The monkey snatched a pancake off my plate. I said, "Hey, you come back here out of gangster slap you." Oh my God, it was a beautiful country. And so there are things that we can do that we don't know, that most people did what I did, and I was operating within my comfort zone. And now, through the inspiration of desperation, because there's no such thing as job security, according to the Department of Labor, over 20,000 people are losing their jobs every month. My sister was just laid off the second time, and they told her, "You're going to have to train the person that we're flying in to replace you." And so she said, "I'm not going to do that." She said, and they told her, "If you want your severance pay, you will," and they will test her. And so she did it with resentment. And so in order to get her severance pay, she had to train her replacement. Just imagine going through a divorce with somebody and they ask you to train their replacement. You're about to make me lose my mind. Up in the air. You're about to make me act a fool. Up in the air. Yes, sir.
Well, that's it for me, but I just want to say thanks. And I want to talk about my personal connection with you. I've always felt a self-limiting belief in that, at least when people talk about experts, I've always felt like I've had something to give too, but when people talk about experts, you always feel like you're not enough. You know, like somebody, like you should really be a multi-millionaire before you can really go around and start telling people what to do, how to run a business, how to live their life. Yeah.
No, you don't.
And I've always felt like that your story was so totally different because you ended up just being a fantastically great speaker, and that was what propelled you to success. Obviously, you did the work to put yourself out there and things like that, but I love the fact that it feels like you're one of the few original people that sought after the gift that they felt like they had, even when you know, you had no track record or nothing to lean on and say, "This is my success." And I feel like that gives a lot of people hope to be able to say, "I have a skill and I can tell people things just purely, even though I haven't experienced those things myself, because I'm great at this skill of speaking." And that's helped me and probably millions of other people too, I'm sure. So that's my experience with you. You kind of give people hope that haven't gone to the next level to be able to even get started. And so there's a big gap there, which people would just never get started if they didn't have inspiration like your story. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. One of the things I encourage people, I remember when I saw Tony Robbins, the Gunther Rinker, spent millions of dollars to have him on television every hour around the world. I sent them one of my 8 tracks. Millennials don't know about 8 tracks. Then they said, "You have a very inspiring story, but you're black." So I wrote them back and said, "Thanks for telling me. I never would have known that." So they told me that they didn't believe that an African American could have appeal to the general American public. And that was the best thing they could have done. Because some things happen to you, some things happen for you. Okay, and that's what the chairman said today at the hearing with Corn. And so what happened, I told my mentor, Mike Williams, he said, Brownie, he said, it doesn't matter. He said, focus on changing lives. Tony has a 2-step program. People come in, they pay a low price, and the game is to get 3 to 4% to go to a firewalk and pay more money. What you should focus on is impact. Focus on changing lives. If you do this, 3 things. 1, focus on orchestrating an experience with your story. He said if information could change people, everybody would be skinny, rich, and happy. That's number 1. Number 2, go opposite of the Dale Carnegie course, which is a great course. They teach, tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you tell them. How many speakers here? Raise your hands. Okay, how many want to make some money with your story, all right? Good. Here's something to give you a competitive advantage, gave me a competitive advantage. They teach, tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. He said, Brownie, never let what you want to say get in the way of what the audience wants to hear. Conduct communications intelligence. Do an assessment. So those of you that are here, if you just email me lesbrown77@gmail.com and say you were here, I'm going to send you the assessment that I send corporations before I speak. I send them an assessment, and then I use my story to distract. Let us say together, distract.
Distract.
Dispute.
Dispute.
Inspire.
Inspired.
How people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. So what we do as coaches and as speakers and trainers, we distract them with our story. And through the execution of our story and the things that we learn, we dismantle their current belief system and inspire them to become, as Mother Teresa would say, a pencil in the hand of God and start writing a new chapter with their lives. Because a story has a human face. People don't bring you in for information. They can Google the information. They don't need us for that. What they bring you in for is the experience. And what I'm doing now at this stage of my life at 75 is teaching people, and like Dwight Pleasure who spoke, who teaches 3-dimensional storytelling, how to use your story to create an experience. Oliver Wendell Holmes said that once a man or woman's mind has been expanded with an idea, concept, or experience, it can never be satisfied to going back to where it was. There are certain people, when I speak, they're going to hear me. There are some people that's going to hear the both of us, but there are some people that's going to hear you. That's why Jesus said, my sheep shall hear my voice. He who has ear, let him hear. There are certain people that when you speak something about you, when you speak something about your energy, when you speak something about your story, that you're going to touch something in them. You're going to ignite something in them. And I believe that those of you that have showed up here today is that as much as you've chosen to be here, you were chosen to be here. And that there's a greater work for you to do. And the things that I've done, you're going to even do even more than what I've done. And so I encourage you to stay the course. I saw a lot of people who gave up because they had setbacks and life got in the way and they got caught up in the distractions. Weapons of mass distractions derail a lot of people. You know, I went through a whole lot of stuff. You know, doctor looked at me and said, you have cancer. Those 3 most feared words in 7 different languages. Dr. Alfred Golson from Howard University. You have cancer. I said, can you give me a second opinion? Yes, and you're ugly too. Oh, Dr. Golson. You're a funny dude. You know, you went to get a prostate examination. He put 2 hands on your shoulder and said, you ready? No! You guys missed it. You missed it. You missed it.
Oh, behave.
Oh, behave.
Oh, behave.
The other thing is, laugh at yourself. When I listened to all the other guys, they had a memorized script. You got to remember the script. But if you get coaching on how to be spontaneous and how to craft a message in the moment, then you can orchestrate from that coaching an experience with the audience that will transform them individually and collectively, and you can make a lot of money. I mean, you think about it. Both my parents said, hey son, we're here. I would not know either one. I've earned as much as in an hour and a half, over $450,000 at one event, you know? And that was not even my intention. My intention is to change lives. The speaking industry has been hijacked by people who speak to sell. I speak to change lives. You change people's lives, you're going to make some money. Opportunities going to come to you that you cannot begin to imagine. Eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor is it in the heart of mankind what God has in store for you. I do believe all things work together for good for those who love God and who are called according to his purpose. And opportunities will come to you from everywhere if you stay the course. But life want to know, you know, Joseph Campbell talked about the long, dark journey of the soul. And life want to know, do you really want to win? Do you really want this dream? And it's going to take you through a journey that you will grow mentally and emotionally and spiritually because of it. I want to do something with you. Is that all right?
Yeah. On the hot seat.
No, it's not the hot seat. What is your full name?
Travis Chapman.
Travis, using your imagination, going back when you were like 4 or 5, who's the most important person in your life that you looked at, you admired, and they made a very strong impression on you?
My mother.
Your mother. Okay, now, I want you to listen, remember, follow along with me. So, your mother. So when you think about that, what's your mother's name?
Kathy.
Kathy. What was the first quality you admired about your mother?
She was loving.
Loving. Fantastic. And so that's the kind of love that she showed towards you. You got brothers and sisters?
I got one older brother, yeah.
Yes, and so the kind of love that she demonstrated towards you. Excellent. What's the second quality?
Oh man, she was very kind, so we never had to, there was like no fear.
No fear. Okay. And the third quality?
She was just a good person, so I think even not how she treated us, it was how she treated everybody else too.
Yeah, so she treated people with respect. Very good. Who do you want to speak to?
The world.
Okay, you want to speak to the world, but let's narrow it down. Some group that you think that you feel most competent and confident to address. What that audience look like, going to your imagination. I know you don't know, but if you did know, pulling from your imagination, what would that be?
So my passion, something that I care deeply about, which is, it's kind of hard to talk about, is I think a lot of people struggle with feeling like they need to be financially very well off to be happy. And I've just always gone through ups and downs and trained my just kind of lifestyle in such a way to where I can be just as happy when life is really terrible and crappy, and just as happy as when it's going really good too. And I meet a lot of people that are in a really great position in life that I would love to be, and they look at me and are kind of envious because I'm happy when I have less, and I look at them and I feel like a lot of people are kind of stuck in a place where they just...
But you really want to talk to the masses, right?
I just kind of wanted to make people be happier.
Got you, got it. Hi, my name is Travis. Hello, Travis.
Hello, Travis.
I want you to think about your life right now. I want you to think about what is it that gives you a sense of purpose, a sense of fulfillment, and a sense of happiness that you would love to experience on a regular basis. I want you to go there with me. And as you think about it, I want to tell you and share with you right now my mother. Her name is Kathy. And she was an incredible woman. Let us say together, she was loving. Say that, please.
She was loving.
Yeah, see, I believe that a life of love is powerful. God is love, and he who dwelleth in love dwelleth in God, and God in them. Whatever goal and dream that you have, if you come from a place of love, the possibilities of your doing the things that you want to do and living the life that you want to live are incredible. Choosing a career that you love, not one that's driven by the greed of money, but one that you love, a lifestyle that you love, relationships that are loving, and deciding